The following podcast contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Showdown Podcast with Corey and Vic. A debate on what movie is better, Corey's choice versus Vic's choice. They each plead their case and try to destroy the others. It's a combat of subjective opinion. I'm Brad Scott, your impartial judge, and as always, my say is final. Welcome to episode 35 of the Showdown Podcast, the Joe Lavelle Memorial Invitational Classic featuring Joe Lavelle. Today's fighters, the challenger, Corey Wake Me Up Before You Go Miller, and his film King of New York. His opponent, the reigning Showdown Podcast champion, Vic Miller, and his film Pulp Fiction. Let us prepare to podcast.
Did you get it that time?
I got it.
You got it that time.
All right, welcome to the Showdown Podcast. This is episode 35. It is our second episode with Joe Lavelle. Welcome to your Memorial Invitational Classic.
Well, thank you for having me back.
He's not dead. He dropped the ball on that joke.
Did we tell you?
A Memorial Invitational Classic assumes that you're dead, Joe.
Remembering me from the last time I was
From the last episode, because your career probably is going to die once people hear you on this show. That's what happens to a lot of other people.
When I think back, then I was a different person. Now I'm the new guy.
Brent Terhune had a #1 album on iTunes before he was on our show.
Unbelievable.
He's not #1 anymore.
Yes.
Has nothing to do with the fact that the album's been out for a few months now. But, so welcome, and as you heard, that British guy that we paid big money to get in here said it's Pulp Fiction versus King of New York. Thank you to anybody that joined us on Periscope. How many were we up to, Corey?
We got up to 3.
Hey!
Adriana and Alex feud.
Ooh, Alex feud.
Nice.
Sounds like we might have a beef with them later. Anyways, today... Vic, you are the reigning champion.
That I am, sir.
So the ball is in your court, sir. What are you going to do?
I believe I'm going to defer to Corey and make him go first.
Let me get some horrible joke sounds ready to go.
You know, before I start... Thank you. That's a little premature there, but before I start, I'm just looking at IMDb, and in the rating spot for King of New York, it says it's rated X.
What?
Yeah.
How is that even so?
You're looking at the wrong Kings of New York.
This is a goddamn family show.
It's not Dick Kings of New York.
So anyhow, King of New York...
He's more looking at IMDb Pornhub.
Yeah.
This is a family show, Corey.
Okay. Where we say cunt. Which you missed out on last episode.
Last few, I think, we've been cuntless.
Right
I think it's been cuntless the last few episodes.
Yeah, it's weird.
Where did you see it was rated X? I want to kind of
look underneath where it says King of New York on the page at the very top.
That is an X. I actually thought it was. I just thought you could get rid of that little box.
You're like, oh, I can get rid of this movie.
You know what? Okay. I still double checked.
Okay. So Christopher Walken is recently released from jail. He's a former drug lord of New York, and he's getting out of jail. And as he is coming back in, reacclimating himself with the city, he's realizing a lot of things have changed since he's been gone. And that's been because other crime bosses have come in and taken over his spots. Some of which do not like him very much, including one who it's like tries to tell him off and say you're nothing. Which Christopher then turns around and kills him right there and says, anybody else got anything to say? So you can tell right from the beginning that Christopher Walken takes no shit in this movie. And it starts off with him reacclimating with one of his former...
I like that, though, about Christopher Walken in this movie.
Yeah.
That's how you should be. I wish they'd do that at comedy clubs.
where Chris Rock comes in and is like, I'm a badass.
No.
You don't like it.
You just shoot him.
When you're a club, the first thing I would do if I opened a comedy club, my very first show, right? The first person that heckles or talks or disrupts the show, I will bring them on stage and I will shoot them in the fucking head, execution style. Because here's the thing,
Kill one, the rest will learn.
that's the thing. You'll be the comedy club where people go, oh man, I don't know if I'd go to Brad Scott's comedy club because you heckle, dude. They will murder you on stage.
That's not part of the ambiance, the whole ritual, the whole.
What, heckling and people talking? No, we're not. People do that a lot. They confuse comedy with bands. We're not meant to kind of be, background noise. Like for entertainment, or it's meant to be. You have to listen to get it.
Get drunk, and then they're like, "I don't get it." And
yeah, but if you're
trying to be part of the show,
if you can't go, it's a 90-minute show. If you can't stay sober enough to be a normal, decent human being for 90 minutes, you don't deserve to go out anywhere. Like if you. Well,
you're there for it to...
Yeah, and I know what makes the best comedy shows. It's going to be, if everybody is engaging, it's fine every now and then. Like we had this last night where you had a couple people that would just yell something, yay, or something like that. That's fine, as long as it's quick and and especially if the comic addresses, don't yell anything out. But people that want to be a part of the show because they've gotten too drunk or they think they're funny themselves, it just takes away from everybody else's experience. Yeah, you're really drunk, and to you that's having a good time. But the guy that spent $25 next to you had every intention of listening to me, not you.
Right.
And you have that a lot with bachelorette parties. It's our night.
Well,
we have penises on our heads.
You're going to choose who walks in the door. Yeah. That's what sucks.
But like last night, we had several bachelorette parties between both shows, all well behaved, all great. Great
they
crowd.
weren't drunk yet.
Well, there was one that was a little bit of an issue. No, one of them was trash.
Plastered yet.
Oh, you're talking about Gangs of New York?
No, King of...
Oh, I'm
That's
sorry. I
exactly...
mistaken it with a good movie.
Yeah, that's exactly how entertaining this movie was.
Yeah.
Did you pick this one?
Yes, I did.
He picked it.
Yes.
Despite all of its downfalls.
There is no downfalls in this. Okay, so anyhow...
Except for how much money it made.
That doesn't matter.
$2 million.
What?
Worldwide.
So anyhow...
3,000 if you're generous because of Hong Kong.
Christopher Walken... he plays Frank White. He meets back up with Lawrence Fishburne, who he had a connection with before he went into jail. And their meeting was hilarious.
Obligatory black man.
Well, maybe. So anyhow, you even get a little dance from Christopher Walken, which is always nice whenever Christopher can dance.
Was it as good as the Fat Boy Slim video?
Not as good, but nothing's going to beat that.
That's pretty great.
I really kind of confused with this. That's how much I really thought I watched this movie, and I don't think I did. All the way through. Yeah. I know. I watched it.
Yeah. You said $2,000.
No,
$2 million.
You said $2,000.
So what happened?
Pretty sure I said no.
So you like it? Anyhow, yes, I love this movie. He ends up trying to get his game back together, and I said game, G-A-M-E, and take over, have control of all his land and all his drug kingpin.
They call it territories.
Yeah, that whatever. I'm not in the drug business. I don't know anything about that. So anyhow.
So what, because I'm black I am and I do? What?
Well, if that's what you think.
Right,
I never said that.
I'll say it. Vic seems very connected to crime.
Yes, he does. So anyhow,
that time I spent in jail.
You do have a gun on the table.
And his dick. Just put both of them up there.
I thought that was the table. I'm so sorry.
So in the midst of trying, to get control back to him, he is being hounded by some cops. One played by David Caruso, the other played by Wesley Snipes, and they're harassing him throughout the whole thing. And eventually, they both die. He kills Wesley Snipes. I think he kills them both. Now that I think about it,
when was the last time you watched this movie?
A couple days ago. I'm trying to
continue.
I'm just shocked about the whole thing.
So anyhow,
it's intriguing.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay. So anyhow, in the midst of that, he's being hounded by the cops who continuously try to arrest him, and it doesn't end up working out. In the end, though, he realizes that the city is too much for him to be able to take anymore, because he's just basically out of his game and not being able to handle things like he did once before before he went into jail. And he's been shot. He's sitting in a taxi, and finally decides that this is it. He can't run anymore, and he gives it up, and dies there in the taxi cab.
So, I tried to find this movie.
Did you watch the movie?
I didn't watch the movie. I watched clips. I watched clips of the movie. I watched the trailer for the movie.
You watched the whole movie, Corey. You watched the whole movie.
Yes, I did.
Like, I really, really remember trying to watch this movie because it's Christopher Walken. Can you do Christopher Walken?
I mean, out of principle, no.
Out of greatness.
Do it. Make Corey do it.
So,
Joe, I don't think you know how this show runs. We are co-officials, my friend.
You can't do one? You can't do one?
No, it's
Black man doing Christopher Walken. I can't do it.
You
Okay,
have a movie. You don't even do it?
so I'm watching the clips of this movie and realize how badly it's done. Like, the most glorious thing that I saw of this movie were the Jerry curls the black guys were sporting through the whole movie. They were just slinging it everywhere.
Well, see, that was, those weren't even wigs. That was their natural hair.
Well, of course it was. Black people don't wear wigs. What are you talking about? But
What year did this come out?
This came out in
90.
And what year was it
1990.
supposed to be?
90, I think.
No, it was 80s. I think it was supposed to be in the 80s era.
I don't know. It
80s time
doesn't
frame.
It
mention.
doesn't really say. I mean, technically, it was probably filmed in 89.
Judging by what they were wearing, it's the 80s.
I watched this movie.
There has to be. This movie, does this movie rank high for you?
It's not in my top 100 now.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay. Well,
On his letterbox.
My
the letterbox, the D.
What, 200? Why would you pick this movie?
Because I like it. I really do like it.
But not for 100.
No.
No, not at all. It got a 71% fresh rating. Like, this movie. Okay, let's go here. This is the information that I was laughing my ass off when I read this. They premiere the movie. Okay, the director's wife and half of the freaking audience walked out on the film during the premiere of the movie. Okay. Now, not only is that's strike one. That's just bad. Maybe it's just, a rough night.
I'll give you 3,000 more.
Night 2 comes up, and they do it again. Nobody walked out.
Nobody can finish the movie.
Nobody walked out, but when they brought Lawrence Fishburne and the writer of the movie on stage, they booed him off the stage.
How long is this movie?
Hour and 46 minutes.
It was
It
hailed.
feels like forever. I don't think I finished this movie. I'll give you 2,000 more points if you can do a Christopher Walken.
No, I can't do it. So I had this watch up my ass.
No, you have to do a movie from a Christopher... The one that you're doing.
Oh, you want me to do it from this?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me
You
find
can't just do a Christopher Walken.
Hold on, let me find the quotes here.
Yeah.
That's why that X was on there.
From now
They're
on.
do not watch.
Hold on. From now on, nothing goes down unless I'm involved.
Your Christopher Walken sounds similar to your Macho Man Randy Savage.
Which sounds like Captain Kirk.
You are Captain Walken.
Black guy.
So there I was.
There it
The
is.
place where you came from yesterday. It's crazy. So I got on the ship. I said, warp drive.
So anybody listening, that's me.
So.
Nice, sir. Well done.
Wait, did you just say that's me?
Yeah.
How he was talking at the same... literally overlapping his words.
Oh, Jesus.
I love this
Thanks for
kitchen.
stepping right on that joke, Brad. Now it's your turn.
The greatest kitchen ever.
He just tried to hit you with the step on the joke.
He didn't do it right, though.
How does this movie end? Because nobody has seen the end of it because nobody's laughing.
In the end, he ends up getting he's shot while running from one of the other cops and ends up inside a taxi cab where he eventually dies.
Ta-da.
Okay, so like I said, I haven't seen I didn't see the whole movie, but I was looking stuff up to see if I needed to be worried about this movie, because sometimes he'll throw a curveball and it'd have, like, horrible movie, but, like, won 25 awards. I looked this thing up. This thing got the equivalent of, like, the participation awards from the Mist Film Festival, which is the Italian film festival that Italy puts on. This movie was actually funded by the richest man in Italy, so of course it won that nomination. Nice. It's the only nomination it won.
I do remember Christopher Walken's hair in this movie more than I actually remember. That's how I recognized the movie was this movie and not, like Gangs of New York.
Oh, such a great movie.
It was nominated for Best Cinematography from Independent Spirit Awards in '91.
Yet nominated, didn't win.
Yeah.
That's for dang sure.
But it was nominated.
So, again, why do you like it?
I don't know. I think it's the environment, the acting, the cheesiness.
You just like Christopher Walken?
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
Just pick a Christopher Walken movie and it's okay.
Yeah, and
you could.
It's got a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's
certified fresh.
It is certified fresh. You can't discount that. In the beginning, when it first came out, it may not have been great. But they didn't get it. I think as time goes on, you
I don't get it either.
The greatness of it.
I don't get why people should watch it. That's exactly my point.
Tell me why.
It's just got
like this movie.
It's got a gritty New York drug feel to it. Christopher Walken.
But we've
is
established
amazing.
you don't know anything about drugs. I'm the expert on that.
That's true.
I mean,
okay, let's fucking be real. I'm the expert at drugs at this stage.
This is definitely true.
I'm the only one who's hot. Johnny Walker over here.
That's not true. That is not true. I have enough narcotics in my system to definitely qualify as high, my friend.
Yeah, but yours are like
oxys?
No, like tranquilizers to a bear. It's just alleviating your pain. It's not making you hot.
Okay, so I told this to somebody else that this movie, it's got David Caruso, it's got Lawrence Fishburne, it's Wesley Snipes, Giancarlo Esposito, who was in Breaking Bad, Steve Buscemi, Teresa Randall, they're all in it, but their roles are so small. This movie is Christopher Walken's movie, and he does an excellent job of portraying Frank White.
You know who else was there?
Or Mike. But
Hustle Gang's gonna be there.
Russell Gang was there.
Hustle
Gang.
We've been through this.
You're
white
so white.
man.
I'm so white.
You're clear.
So white.
I'm so white, I'm clear. That's right.
So, Vic believes the ball. Actually, should I say, Vic Miller?
That's right.
The defending champ. What do you got for us?
So let's talk a little bit about my movie. It's Pulp Fiction. It is iconically so much better than the crap we just heard about. So much so that I almost feel bad.
Bring it on.
Well, we'll start off with your 71% fresh rating. Let's go there. Compared to mine, which had a 93% fresh rating. That tomato just got fucking plucked off the vine. This movie was so good.
Yeah, but let me say this, though. Everybody's seen Pulp Fiction. Everybody's heard of it. King of New York.
Everybody, and I had to look it up to find it. It's so bad. Everyone has seen Pulp Fiction. Everyone loves Pulp Fiction. It has started more trends, memes, and iconic quotes than anything you could possibly come up with.
King of New York is not as popular as Pulp Fiction. And
I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
No, you didn't. King of New York just needs to be seen. If nobody's seeing it, nobody knows about it. Of course, it's not going to be as high as Pulp Fiction.
You're not helping it though.
Yeah.
Your point is supposed to be to get us to want to go see this movie.
I'm downplaying what you're saying.
But we tried to see it. We just can't finish it. It starts.
When did you last see it? When did you try and see it?
God, it was probably 2 years ago.
See, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And hasn't want to see it again.
Well, I didn't make it through it. I just recognized it.
So,
there.
Pulp Fiction, gross box office, 9.3.
You just try to do the whole, like, it ages thing. And
yeah.
You see
It's like a fine wine.
Yeah.
And you went back to 2 years. You're like, yeah, see, like, 2 years now you're going to watch it in a whole new other light. It's from 1990.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
Literally, my movie.
I don't think 2 years makes it. I don't think it adds nostalgia. God, I remember 2013 watching this. What a time it was back then. Now I can see this in a whole new light.
I'm stupefied. Hold on, I think he's actually put me in a tizzy.
There is a lot of other movies.
All right, so Pulp Fiction is about.
Drop the mic. Break it and go.
Continue.
Pulp Fiction is a movie about a group of people that are all intertwined together through their connection with Marcellus Wallace, who is a
What is he?
mob boss / kingpin. I go with kingpin more than a mob boss. They refer to him as a mob boss, so I think he's a crime kingpin. I think that's what I would call him. So he's got his hitmen. He's got, he's doing under table deals going on with boxers and getting them to throw fights so he can bet high on them. When they lose, he makes money. All kinds of stuff going on. So the first thing first people we meet is Jules and Vince, who are his hitmen, and they are imparting knowledge about all kinds of stuff to all kinds of people. Once again, one of the things that you learn is, like, if you're going to go to Amsterdam, you find out that there's a lot of things you can learn, just by going to Amsterdam. Like, you can smoke pot out in the open. It's a great thing. He teaches you all about that. Find out that, as my name portrays, that a quarter pounder with cheese is actually a Royale with cheese in France. So you learn something in my movie, unlike yours that we can't remember. So they are... Apparently you didn't either. or the refs or anybody else, since the movie only made $2 million worldwide compared to the $9 million mine made on opening weekend, so the numbers don't lie. But the movie goes on. They are retrieving a lost package that was stolen from Marcellus by a bunch of low-level idiots that they track down to get the package back, and they try to explain to them how dumb they are for taking on Marcellus when they know that he's a badass. And they try to explain to them that what they did was stupid. So they get the package back. They go and they take Marvin, who's one of the guys, back to take him back to Marcellus. And as they're driving him back, one of the funniest scenes is Vince turns around. He's talking to the idiot. He's got the gun in his hand, his finger on the trigger. They hit a bump and he blows Marvin's head off. And that starts all the craziness from there. They go down to their buddy's house to try to get the car cleaned out because they don't want to get busted. That leads them up to towards the end of the movie. They end up at a diner in which they meet another set of idiots who decide they're going to rob the diner. And in robbing the diner, they decide that they're going to take two of the baddest hitmen in the city down with them and take their wallets and everything else. And it's a funny movie. As much as it's a crime story, it's hilarious. And there's so many different bits and pieces that he intertwines into the movie to kind of give you this story. And again, non-linear, like we talked about before. It's not a straight through, this is plot, point A to point B. This is like jumping back and forth to different points in the story. There's a point where you meet Butch. And Butch is a boxer who works for Marcellus. He tells Butch to lay down in the next fight, and Butch decides he's not going to do that. He's going to bet all of his money on himself, and he ends up winning the fight. Tries to haul ass and get out of town, but his stupid girlfriend forgot his family heirloom watch, so he had to go back for it. And in returning to their getaway, he actually hits Marcellus with his car, who's carrying donuts across the street, and they get into this epic fist fight that leads them into an old pawn shop, in which they meet Zed and his crony, who are both the biggest. I don't even know what you would call them. What the hell do you call those guys? They're rednecks, but they're rapists. They're redneck male rapists who have a gimp.
Wait, they rape males?
Yeah.
Okay.
Men. They rape men.
Okay. I don't know if they were like
not
men
the
who
male.
raped or men who raped men.
They're men who rape men.
Gotcha.
And enjoy watching the gimp, who is this leather-clad guy in a box. Like, this movie is so crazy. It's all over the place, and it makes it.
What's in the box?
I'll tell you what's in the box.
Bring out the gimp.
That's what's in the box. So they bring the gimp out and proceed to do some really nasty shit to Marsalis, who, by the end of it, gets free. Bruce Willis breaks loose, who plays Butch, grabs a sword and starts slicing people up. Marsalis grabs a shotgun and blows the dude's dick off, who, as he's laying on the ground, he proclaims that he's going to get medieval on his ass and basically destroy this guy for what they did to him. And because of that, Butch is allowed to leave. He's just told never to return again and to never speak of what happened, which I would probably not want to be talking about either. So the next set of stories that intertwine with that is Vince is told by Marsalis to take his wife out for the evening. Vince is known for being a ladies' man and screwing everything he gets a hold of. So there were Jules is worried he's going to screw that whole thing up. But she's also a notorious drug addict, and he's pretty sure she's going to get fucked up. So he tries to take her home early. He tries to take her out, show her a good time. She ends up getting freaking hammered. She ends up overdosing, and they end up at one of his other friends' house, and a syringe stuck in her chest, to make a long story short, in order to bring her back from an overdose, which is a little scary in itself. And that's pretty much the long and short of the story. But basically, it's just an interconnected story of a bunch of fucked up shit in the day of a fucking of a bunch of criminals.
I do want to say one thing. You were making a big deal about how much each movie made. Well, Pulp Fiction was in 1,338 theaters, while King of New York was only in 115. So the money's going to be a bit off.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. What do you mean it doesn't matter? It's the King of New York was only in 115 theaters. That's like 1,000 times less than what Pulp Fiction was in. So it's going to make 1,000 times less.
Which I find funny, because we've had this conversation before, and that was my argument, and you've always stated, well, it doesn't matter how they opened, it matters how it was received.
No,
if it was only in 150...
Nobody went to Pulp Fiction when it came out in theaters.
It opened up at 9 million in 100. In
100 movie theaters. Nobody went to movie.
Opening weekend, it was in 1,338 theaters, and it jumped up to 1,494 by the end.
But that's its opening weekend.
So are you with Pulp Fiction?
1,494 is
that was its opening weekend. Okay.
No,
its opening weekend was
1,338.
No, according to what are you looking at?
Box Office Mojo.
Okay, look at just the first weekend.
First weekend, okay.
Its box office was 9 million.
Yes.
Okay.
In 1,338 theaters.
But $9 million in its first weekend. Your movie didn't do anywhere near that. Like it literally almost quadrupled what it made worldwide its entire run.
Because
that's how bad the movie is.
It's only in 115 theaters. It's like you can't compare that.
Hey, this is Rupert from Survivor, and you're listening to the Showdown Podcast. Yeah!
I forgot you had that one.
It's commercial time! All right, special guest Joe Lavelle. Where can the people find you at?
You can check me out on Facebook at Lavelle Photography. You can email me at lavellephotography@gmail.com. And you can look at my YouTube page, which is Mojo7 spelled out 7.
Corey.
I am on Instagram.
Just kidding, Vic.
Yes! I am Black and Angry on Xbox One. That's BLAQ and Angry. And you can find me at MillerKing51 on the internet.
Corey?
Are you sure this time? All right. I'm on Instagram.
Just kidding. You can find me at BradScottComedy.com. Links to all the social media, schedule, and all that good stuff. See where I'm going to be at and come out to a show. Corey?
I'm on Instagram.
Just kidding. Showdown Podcast at The Showdown Pod on Twitter. Like us on Facebook, The Showdown Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, of course, subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. Corey?
I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, the D at MKOgonzo.
Let's get back to the show. We're back!
That was awesome.
All right.
That had to be the best one yet.
So,
Phenomenal.
we are back. We have deliberated. We have made a decision. Joe, you're our guest. So, what is your decision?
I'm just going to go with Pulp Fiction. I do not understand your New York fetish. There is gangs of New York. There's sidewalks of New York. There's New York, New York. The Belle of New York. Slaves of New York. The Real Housewives of New York. There's so many more that you can choose. I don't understand why you would choose that one.
Well, okay.
All right. That is a.
I was flabbergasted. I couldn't even do Miles.
That is a lot of New York. You didn't never realize how many of New York. So,
Oh, yeah.
I'm giving the win to Corey. And again, you don't understand how hard it was to give a win to Corey. But I felt like you, Vic, chose the movie you thought would win.
What?
And I felt like Corey chose the movie he truly had passion for. I didn't hear as much passion from you. Also, do you realize you never mentioned Sam Jackson was in the movie? You never mentioned John Travolta was in the movie. You just said their characters' names. You never once said they were in the movie. You didn't talk about... I've never seen Pulp Fiction.
Name a character from what was it?
Christopher Walken, Lawrence Fishburne,
a character.
Wesley Snipes.
Name a character.
That's not... But that's
Name a
not,
character. It's the exact same fight.
But I've never seen the movie.
And that's why you want to watch it.
Listening to both your arguments, I've never seen Pulp Fiction. I'd rather see King of New York, a gritty 90s crime movie in New York. You didn't even mention the dance thing.
He does fly when he dances.
That's the most,
Christopher Walken.
it's one of those iconic scenes. Because that's the other thing. I was like, okay, well, I've never really had a desire to see Pulp Fiction, but I'll let Vic sell me on it. He didn't sell me on it. And it seemed, according to...
This guy.
That's Joe.
Here's the thing.
According to Joe Daniels,
Here's the
old-fashioned
thing.
whiskey.
Here's the thing.
Early times.
I will accept this from you because he had me so flabbergasted at how badly he did it. I couldn't even do my thing properly. So it's fine. But either way,
more of your
either way, I still win.
You know,
Because it's a tie, I retain my title. I don't care.
And that is true.
So
Also,
like I said,
first time we've heard this music.
It is a great soundtrack.
Well, how would I have known?
not to mention, there's your Batusi.
Yeah, but you didn't talk about that.
Brad's
You didn't talk
right.
about your soundtrack.
Then nothing.
There isn't one.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there's nothing.
What's the soundtrack?
Fuck, I don't know. No, that's a different movie. But with Pulp Fiction, Brad's right, though. I mean, you didn't mention the huge cast that they had. Bruce Willis, Ving Rhames.
I did mention Bruce Willis. I did mention Ving Rhames.
I didn't know Uma Thurman was in it.
I said Uma Thurman.
I don't think you really did. You didn't
said-
talk about enough.
I said Butch, who's played by Bruce Willis.
No, you did do that. Bruce Willis, I think, was the first actor name you mentioned.
Tim Roth.
I really do. Christopher Walken was in your movie.
I feel like you literally just choose to go with him for no good reason.
You won the title because I picked you last episode.
He didn't say it. Neither one of you said it.
No, he didn't. He didn't mention the Tarantino film. He didn't mention the soundtrack.
Yeah, I saw.
There was. I didn't have a soundtrack. But the point is, he's got a soundtrack that everybody knows. That song, everybody.
So are
knows.
you just trying to rebuff the fact that we tied and mine is a better movie?
No, I'm just saying that you missed out on some key points to turn Brad onto your movie.
Because I went in open.
You had no key points. None whatsoever.
No, he sold me on it. I want to see this movie
What
now.
part sold you?
The fact that, honestly, that it is a small budget movie that had a great cast.
How did Christopher Walken die at the end?
He got
played
shot
twice.
in a taxi.
He's right. He listened real well.
Yeah, like I really want to see that movie.
I might have to change my vote.
I thought Corey had more passion behind it. This could be a showdown first.
Jeez.
We'll tell you what. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll get into a couple of things, a couple of round tables, and then we'll come back to you, Joe, and you can let us know whether it is the decision stands or if you've switched. And
All right, sounds good.
all right, so Halloween is coming up. We're kind of like like Von Bar. We're already it's August for us, but you guys are listening to this in October. And so we thought like we've ever taken anything professionally or serious. We're talking about Halloween. It's coming up very soon. What are your fondest memories of Halloween as a kid?
For me, the one thing that I can't remember, even when my kids were younger, and they're all pretty much grown now, is the actual getting on a costume, going out with all of my friends, and walking around the neighborhood and collecting candy. Like, it's not really done like that anymore. Like, you can't wait for the sun to go down, everybody gets a group of people together, you go out and do it. It's always like, well, we're going to go to the safe trick-or-treat, and we're going to go over here because we know these houses are okay.
Where's the danger anymore?
I grew up in New York City, Jamaica, Queens.
I use the sex offender registry list like a map. Go up to this door, honey.
Here's an apple, a razor blade, and a condom.
Have that.
Trick or treat.
But that's the biggest thing that, like, I remember having fun doing.
I do remember when I was a kid in Franklin, Indiana, they had this one street that was like the haunted house street. You know, I remember like it was only around, so I think I was in like middle school, so I never my mom would never like really go check it out because it was kind of adult and they're teenagers doing all types of shit. My mom would be like, like they're probably smoking the pot and, running around with knives. And she believes every news story and urban legend she's ever heard.
There's teenagers that are beating up the kids for their candy.
There's a guy with a hook hand and it's on the door handle. But yeah, I remember I always wanted to. I was so disappointed. I don't think they really do it. You don't see that very much anymore. You don't see the true like haunted houses. I guess maybe that's a rich white neighborhood thing. Do you think they still do that?
What?
Like, well,
there's some people who like make their houses out to be haunted houses, and you go through.
Remember
them.
Roseanne?
Oh yeah.
Every year.
Those were iconic episodes.
They always used to go through the house. People used to do that too, and like you go through their house.
When I was a kid, there was a house in the neighborhood that they would do their garage up, and I was always too freaked out to go in it, even though I knew who lived there. I was like, no, I can't. I'm not gonna go in there.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore. And like nowadays, you let people in your house. There's gonna be like people in the corner smoking spice.
I call it Uncle Bob's house.
Somebody gets raped.
They're gonna steal stuff off your shelves.
Smoking bath salts.
They are delicious these days.
They come in so many different flavors.
I remember, getting all dressed up and then going out at like as soon as it's 6 o'clock, going out and then staying out till like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, just keep going to houses. And I lived in a neighborhood where it was a huge neighborhood, and you could literally spend 3 hours walking around and coming home. We, instead of using bags, we would use pillowcases. They're just full of candy. And
Was this last year?
Yeah, it was last year. But I mean,
It's My Little Pony costume.
But I think they cut it off at like 9 o'clock or something now, or it's something crazy early. And it's like
it's literally before the sun freaking goes down. Like they started at 6 o'clock,
I don't remember
and it
that
goes to
ever
like the
happening.
sun going down, and then like it's shut off.
What year did the government start telling us when we can stop trick or treating?
It's ridiculous.
Those
Well,
government officials not want people knocking on the door at midnight asking for damn candy.
Same ones. They want you to stop at 9 o'clock because they're going to come knock on your door to take your guns.
got my cold dead hands.
I tell you what, though, in this neighborhood, though, the last several years, I've sat here while my wife took my daughter out, and I get maybe 5 people show up in 2 hours.
Do you give out big candy bars, or do you give out?
I don't give out shit. I'm
that's probably
I'm
your
cheap.
problem. Yeah,
No,
that's why
I mean,
people don't come
well,
out.
maybe so, but I think it, honestly, I think it's neighborhood wide. It's like nobody goes trick or treating. It's just very scarce.
We had 130 some kids last year at my house.
Really.
We give out full size candy
I
bars.
want to point out how cheap you are.
And as soon as
He has 2 fucking plastic drawers full of candy. that's been here for like 3 years.
Is that all Halloween candy?
He buys it and just hoards it away.
And Christmas and Easter.
Some of it is Halloween candy, some of it is Easter candy. My daughter does not eat it, so whatever she gets sits in this until Brad comes over and we record, and he gets high and he eats it.
Are you passing this out this year?
No, we'll buy new crappy candy and give it out. I don't see...
Recycle, reduce, reuse.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know, I thought about
Kindly
that too.
gentler, Tori.
I should do that.
Kids don't care. They won't even look at it.
I mean, half that stuff they probably won't even eat anyway. It's like, this is gross, and they don't eat it, so it's like, at least it's out
So
of
you
my
give out a full-size candy bar
Yeah,
during
we give out the
Halloween. You
whole
give out a whole candy bar. Those kids are like, there's like the kid hotline. 325 is giving out whole candies, and you just
I
get bum
swear to
rushed.
God, they have a map, and they mark my house. And they all know from the year before to come back to my house because I give out the full-size candy bar.
You're the first one they go to. They're like, get there before he runs out.
I started buying candy bars. We ran out last year, so we had more than we expected. But I had an emergency, drawer candy that I had to give.
We all
out.
have drawer candy.
Yeah.
There was one year we went to this dude's house that we went to school with. And we were like one of the first ones there. He's like, I don't know what they're giving out here. And he gave us full-size bags of Doritos. They were in his cabinet. He just gave us some. We're like, all right, awesome, thanks. Get out of here.
Yeah. That year I give out Playboys.
It was really popular with the little boys, but the little girls not quite so much.
You're on the sex offender registry list.
Full-size candy bars.
That's why they're all coming back.
That's why it gives out full-size candy
Yeah, you
bars.
can't put full size in quotation marks.
Yeah. The one thing I always thought was funny
Here,
was
kid, grab my chocolate bar.
I always thought it was funny when people would leave their bowl of candy on the doorstep and
just take one
leave.
honor
It says
system.
honor system. We went. I swear we took like 4 big handfuls. Went and dismounted. Just came back. Took more of it.
Fuck that. We just poured it in the bag and walked off.
I went in one of the largest, most richest South Side neighborhoods, and freaking, they had a bowl full of pennies sitting out there.
Really?
Never in my life. I was offended. I would have taken
that?
one if I wasn't so offended, so I took them all. This is not right. You don't
Well,
do
I almost
that.
got $1 out of this.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing the one that cracks me up is like you'll have a lot of like I know for a fact because I live there. A lot of the inner city kids will like the parents will put them all together and take them to the suburbs and like let us loose in the
That's pretty
suburbs because
much, yeah.
that's where you get all the good candy from.
That's what the big size candy bars are.
Yeah, the full size
That's
candy
what the
bars
sex
from
offenders are.
So we go to the neighborhoods, but there were neighborhoods like we'd go to, and like all the lights would be on, and then like as soon as everybody got out of the car, like all the lights on the houses would go off because that's like an indication like we don't want you to come to our house and like ask for candy.
yeah, right.
So things like that, like it's
yeah,
always.
right.
You'll get those neighborhoods where you're like, damn, it's like a ghost town. Like nobody's on the street. All the cars are tucked into there. They put them in the garage. Like the cats are tied up. Like there's nobody around, and all you hear is like tumbleweeds and like whistling.
The
And that's
retirement
it.
community.
Right.
I was born in Florida, North Dakota, and I remember one year there was a huge freaking snowstorm, and the drifts had gone up to the second-story window. So my parents, they dressed me up like a bum. That was my costume, was being a bum, when they just threw on my dad's oversized clothes, and they pushed me out the top-story window to slide down the drift, and they took me to the mall, because that's the only place kids could go to get candy. So it's all the shit. It's all, when you go and
It's
you
bulk-
trick or
it's
treat
bulk
at the
candy,
mall,
yeah.
it's not
Dum Dum
candy.
Pops.
It's freaking coupons.
Yeah.
Like I have Chick-fil-A coupons, McDonald's coupons, and freaking 2-for-1
I at least
specials.
give them Dum Dums when they come through my store if they have a
It
costume.
was
on.
freaking
If they get a
awful.
lollipop.
Yeah, if anybody listens from Minnesota or North Dakota, I am so sorry. Your freaking Halloween is horrible.
It's all corporate.
It's corporate, and somebody has to push you out of a second-story building to slide down a snow strip to go freaking 2 blocks down the way. That was that's great parenting right there. Just dress them up like, I guess, what costume can you wear when it's -30?
Right.
That's the
A
bad
bum.
thing with Halloween being at that time of the year too. It's like if you want to be like a vampire or something, it's still cold out, or the chances of it being cold are very high. So you're out there in makeup and you got a cape on, but then you got a big bulky coat on. It's like what
Yeah,
vampire
it's
wears
kinda
a
weird.
coat?
Yeah,
So
that's pretty good.
That doesn't stop the horse. You still see all types of slutty variations of things.
Slutty nurse, slutty doctor, slutty lawyer.
Yeah. Nurses.
I went in.
Slutty cab driver.
There was one time I went into a costume store and they had like sexy Jason Voorhees, a sexy Freddy Krueger. I'm like, really? There's nothing sexy about any character, either one of those characters. Why are we trying to sexualize these characters? It's ridiculous.
Because chicks will wear them.
Because it's freaking awesome. What are you talking about?
And you would look if you saw them.
You're offended by that?
I'm not offended. Oh, I'm offended the fact that they took these iconic characters and tried to make them all sexy.
But you're not offended about girls being
No,
sexy.
if I saw it like that, no, of course not. I'm straight, of course.
So that's working out for you.
He's backed him into a corner. He's fighting his way out, folks.
I mean, you know.
He's on the rope, but he's trying to fight his way
As
out.
long as it's a woman and she's white, you know.
Okay, look at this. I also saw a sexy SpongeBob SquarePants. Explain that shit.
Well, you have a SpongeBob, and then you have a sexy girl, and
She probably has very small
I wonder if
pants
she's
on.
got Krabby Patties.
She probably does.
Oh, well. You take a couple pills, you get rid of that pretty fast nowadays.
She probably definitely has a chocolate
You have to use
starfish.
a salve. A salve. Isn't that a thing?
I have no idea.
Salve? Is it salve?
I think it's a salve.
Salve?
I think it's pronounced as
You know
salve.
what I'm talking about? No, it's like a cream.
You put
Salve. Salve. What is it?
What is it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's salve, but it's pronounced. Yes.
Pronounced what?
I think it's like a.
No one's still been able to give me a straight answer.
I don't know. We don't know. You put it on your elbows?
You're correct.
Kramer used it. Kramer used it on the coffee burger. What am I thinking of?
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, well, then
what it is.
what the fuck is everybody
You were so unsure about what it was.
Silent? That's right, it is. Good job.
He kept telling you were right. You kept saying it another way.
Well, you kept going, yeah, well, that's the word.
Brad, what were some of the costumes you had as a kid? Do you remember them?
I don't think I really was a big dress up.
You weren't a big
I was
dress
like,
up,
nah, I stepped still.
Everybody,
like,
I think you-
like I was like, I think one year, like I just, it was like store bought stuff when I was a little kid, like Batman and Superman with like the plastic mask. Yeah, and then like the pajamas. Basically, it was just pajamas.
Did you store-bought too?
No. One year, I think it was 6th grade. I played football. And I actually wore my football outfit and said, I'm a football player.
Okay, first
outfit?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that.
Let's get this right.
God.
Okay,
You're straight. It's a uniform. Let's get
I
this
don't think I
right.
ever got a store-bought.
My turf heels.
I don't want to break my turf heel.
That visual is something that's great.
I was a vampire one time, too, and everything was homemade.
Dude, I was Two-Face one year, and that was probably the best costume I made myself. You know
I
what
want to
mean?
be the Joker.
I thought it was the badass thing. I was like,
I'd love to be the Joker. Just a big ass purple jacket. Paint my face. I'd do that.
So we went out one year, and I had all my paintball gear. So I put the whole thing on, mask, had the gun, everything, and walking around. And I got probably the most
Vicious
worried
police
looks.
beating?
Well, no cops, but like the most worried looks I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I was just. This was like,
you have the gun?
well, yeah.
Now, you can't be doing that shit nowadays.
Okay.
Hello!
But
Hey,
no.
how
Let
were
me
you-
specify. This is a paintball gun, so it's not like I'm carrying a Glock in my hand. This thing has got like a huge tank. It's got a barrel bag on it. It's got a hopper on top of it. It's clearly something.
Indianapolis cop story I've ever heard forever when some black kid gets shot.
This was when I was an adult, by the way.
Yeah, they're
Now, mind you,
they're calling my life
Let me-
is in danger like it's Ali Ali.
So you
Let me explain this to you.
last year, last year, a gun.
And a mask.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, it was fun because they couldn't tell I was black under there because I was completely covered up. So they would have had to at least ask a question first. And then I'm going to talk my way out of it because I don't sound black. Anyway, so I'm dressed up. I'm dressed up in this.
The layers and layers of questions I have in those last few sentences.
So I'm dressed up in this. My kids are going, like, I'm sitting at the end of the walkway, and my kids are walking up, and I was cracking up the whole time because every time they knock on the door, they look at the kids and be like, "Oh, he's so cute," blah blah blah. They give them the candy, and then they look up at me and be like, "What the fuck is that?" And my kids would come running back to me, and we'd move on to the next one. But it was hilarious because they got the strangest looks. I loved it.
I'm still offended by the "I don't talk black." I am not offended for that.
At least Corey didn't say it this time.
Corey, we're all waiting for you to come in.
Hey. Okay, what?
Corey's the worst.
And see.
I forgot what we were talking about. I was doing something else.
What again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn times.
For Vic Miller, Joe Lavelle, Corey Miller, I'm Brad Scott. I am shocked if you're still here.
Hey,
Hopefully we'll see you next time.
Hold on. You did tell him to think about if he's going to change his pick.
Oh,